Hey y'all. So I was curious and wanted to pull Charlie Kirk's human design profile today. And partly because as a human design coach, I like to utilize this tool to empower people and allow other people to see that a way a person moves in their life is very natural based on what their charts say. And most often, I mean, we have places where we are conditioned, but most often we naturally do move the way that our charts do say. And when you see that physically laid out like this, it allows people to accept other people better. At least that's been my experience. So as his profile type, so he was a manifesting generator. And for those of you that don't know what a manifesting generator is in human design, manifesting generators and generators make up 80% of the population. And they are the workhorses of the population. They have sacral energy and they give sacral energy to others that have open sacrals. And they are the life force of the population. So as a generator, typically generators move in a linear fashion, very orderly. But manifesting generators, because they're part manifestor also, they don't move that way. They pivot and turn and start and stop and will move very quickly. And they typically can run circles around people. And that can challenge and trigger people who do move in an orderly fashion, and especially in a society like ours where many of us have been molded and formed to be like what society expects of us. So moving on to his profile type, he was an investigator martyr. Look at what happened to him. He was a 3-line. That martyr, that 3-line is in and of itself a challenging, triggering type of energy. So it naturally does trigger people in this world because they have to move through things and face all things on their own. They learn through their experiences. So they can't be told what to do. They can't be told that this is how something is going to turn out. They have to live it and to see it for themselves. The other thing I want to point out, and I'm rushing through this because I don't have a whole lot of time to really dive into all of his chart because it's a lot, but the key point things that I want to point out here is you see over here he was a non-emotional, and that means that right here with this solar plexus right here is an open center, so that means that he was a non-emotional. And over here in the spleen means that he was a splenic. He was a sacral person. Sacral was his authority, but the spleen defines it's what creates a non-emotional. So 50% of the population are emotionals and 50% of the population are non-emotionals. Non-emotionals, it's challenging for them to show empathy for other people or to feel empathy the way that, like, say, an emotional authority would. The other thing I want to point out too is that 48 gate right here that goes up into the throat center right here at 16. Now 48 in the black would be his conscious side, and 48 ruled where his moon was. And that talks about depth. You know, it's really about analyzing things and going to great depth and knowing that they know enough. They're challenged to say, like, what I know is good, okay? The other aspect, because it connects up to that throat center 16 with the gate 16 right there, which is in his unconscious side, also in his moon. Now, that is about the skills and expression of skills and capabilities. And it's all about how you express yourself either through speech, music, art, dance. It's perfecting and mastering itself. So because that spleen right here and that being like, spleen defined people are like our wise gurus. They are the teachers. They're very body conscious and all about the primal field, and they are intuitively aware of the now, of what's happening in the now, and knowing what needs to be done and what needs to be said or how to fix something. And it's very body conscious. So it physically can feel things. So because that spleen it's a pressure center too, so it's feeding it up into the throat center like that, which is how we manifest and express ourselves. So that's one indicator of showing that, you know, that's how he expressed himself. That's because, again, 16.3, which is that 3 line, and then you've got the 1. He investigates, he researches, and then he expresses himself. Now, the other thing I want to point out is he also has gate 34 right down here in the sacral. Let me see if I can point it right there. This gate in of itself is the strongest, most powerful gate in all of the 64 gates of human design. And it's a force that pushes up through, and it's connecting that channel up into the throat to gate 20, which is all in the conscious personality side of his chart. And gate 20 is in his south node. Now, of that gate 20, it is about of the now. It's seeing life in the present moment. It's speaking in the now. It's contemplating. It recognizes what should be happening in the present moment. And it's very strong manifesting energy. So naturally, those two gates and channels, there's 4 gates and the 2 channels that are fully connected. No wonder he was so successful in his debates. He communicated very well, and he knew what he was talking about because of that one line in his profile. He investigated things, he researched things before he spoke in the now. So I can understand why he triggered a lot of people. And it's sad because, again, as I said in the video that I posted earlier, that we should be able to be, and I think he even said this in one of his statements, that we should be able to be in a space where we can debate and communicate with each other and disagree and agree to disagree and be okay and move and walk away from those debates, with no harm done to either party that's part of those debates. And unfortunately, with the way the world has been going lately, the pressures that have been put on society, in each person individually, and the injustice that I think a lot of people feel in the world. When you put people under a pressure cooker to try to control them, they're naturally going to fight back. It's going to cause a revolution. And that's essentially what's happened today. And the last thing I want to touch on before I end this video is that everybody has a genetic trauma that they come into this life with, that they experience throughout their life, that they have to learn to overcome. And his happened to be shame. So when you have these genetic traumas, not only are you projecting out that genetic trauma, but it's also being projected at you because it's meant to help you heal and overcome this. So when you think about shame, because of the intelligence that he had and that one line, that one investigator line, and that three martyr line of him challenging and triggering people, also being that manifesting generator, that shame is going to be projected out because he's informing people of all the things that he's researched and investigated. And because he's a non-emotional, he's not expressing that from a place of empathy and compassion. It's just facts, just spilling that out. And so it can come across to people as he's projecting shame onto people, his belief systems, whatever they may be, because remember, he's refining his own stuff, his own things that he's researching and he's investigating. And then in turn, because he's expressing that out, it's also going to be projected back at him, the shame from other people of what they feel is he's shaming them of. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Take it for what it's worth. Maybe it's nothing, just interesting. And I like to look up interesting things, but not to discredit that what happened to him was extremely sad. And it shouldn't have happened to anybody, despite what your beliefs are.